All right, and I see it's a little bit after 10:30 here, so let's get started. Today's presenter is going to be Rafael Atienza and Lance Drake, and I will turn it over to you, Rafael.
Perfect. Thanks, Trent. Hi, everyone. So this is Rafael, and I am part of the business development team here at WCI. Today, very, very happy to share with you some interesting things. Today, what we're going to be talking about is cloud integration and really how to enable your cloud strategy and start taking steps to doing more in the cloud with your data. Really specifically, the area that I want to cover is how to leverage your investments in the cloud and start to also bring it together with applications that may not quite be cloud ready today. Because we've seen a tremendous amount of steam over the past few years and a tremendous amount of uptake and user adoption in these technologies. But for a lot of reasons that we've been hearing from clients, there's just sometimes where your data or the applications that you need to pull information from cannot be cloud enabled. So you've got to have this bridge between your on-premise systems, your on-premise data, and the great things that you get with cloud technology. So what we're talking about today is how to bridge those two things together. As Trent mentioned, Lance Drake will be joining us towards the latter half of the presentation, and he'll actually cover the demonstration of what we're going to be talking about here and how to illustrate those concepts. I'm going to try to move us forward here. All right, so these are the things that we're going to be talking about today. I'll start with a little bit of information about who we are as WCI. Then we'll talk about the challenge of cloud integration. We'll talk about our proposed solution, and then we'll demonstrate it to you. And what I'd like to do is, if you guys have any questions, please submit it through the chat, and we'll take a note of that, and then we'll make sure to address those towards the end of the presentation. So if you guys could do that, that would be great. So a little bit about WCI. Strong experience in business intelligence, and in fact, all areas related to business intelligence. So from the things that your end users see from reports, dashboards, that kind of thing, to things on the back end. So managing your data repositories, managing data warehouses, integrating data from different sources, cleaning up the data. All those areas fall under the umbrella of business intelligence, and we've got some very, very strong experience in those areas. And this last point here around cloud integration, over the last couple of years, we have seen many clients wanting to take steps into this area. And as they've been getting more comfortable with that, we've had to address more and more issues and seeing some kind of weird things happen when you start integrating with the cloud. So our experience there has also been very, very strong. And a few other points to separate us from other business intelligence partners. We're in fact one of the only ones in North America that are authorized to provide frontline support from SAP. We are one of SAP's partners for business intelligence, and in fact we were recently awarded Partner of the Year in the U.S., which was a tremendous honor that was given to us. We're very proud of that. A couple of other things. We are centralized in Dallas, Texas. So that means all of our consultants are based out of there, which gives us great access to both halves of the continent and enables us to share information with all of our consultants. And the information that we have is contained within our company because we don't have any contractors. We don't use any offshore resources. So everybody that you talk to from our company is a full-time employee and has a full roadmap for their career path, and they're very well supported within our company. So that's something that's one of our core values. So the challenge that we're going to be talking about today is this one of how to get your data in the cloud. So I'll just briefly explain how this works. So today in any organization, you're going to have your application data. You may have flat files, and now you've also got cloud data, right? Salesforce.com, other sources of information that are well outside your company. So that's what we call the data, right? Just simplified terms. And over here, you've got your users, and as well, the things that the users would want to interact with. So this could be reports, dashboards, ad hoc tools, data mining, OLAP cubes, whatever. And you want to enable that for either an internal audience or an external audience. So again, that's your content and that's your users. And so today, if you want to get information out of the cloud, well, how would you do it? Well, usually what you do is you have to extract it from that cloud source or from that cloud application. And that's usually in the form of maybe like a CSV file extract. And then what you've got to do, you've got to build a custom script to enable that and start pulling that information out of that system. And then you've now got to start loading a relational database. And as you load that relational database, you've also got to start building in, okay, well, from my report side, well, you know, I don't expect my users to know, you know, the database terms of where the data comes from in these tables. All right, so I've got to map that for them up to the requirements. All right, okay, so what in essence happens is you basically build a project every time you want to extract that data. So that's how it's usually done. And then the challenge is when you need to do it again for another application, one of your own applications, well, you've got to basically duplicate that process. And if there's another application, and again, you need to do that again, right? So what happens is you start to multiply the effort and the time that it takes to do these tasks, and it can start to become, well, quite a challenge to manage everything together and make it nice and efficient and easy for your end users. So the idea is, all right, how do we fix this? Well, we propose doing away with that. And what we do is we start with a data repository, one in which you can collect all your data from any source, whether it's local or hosted. And then instead of trying to define those terms every time you do it, we implement a metadata layer, or sometimes we call it a key performance indicator layer. And this is basically a layer that takes the hard-coded data that you have, those terms that are very database specific, and instead of having your users interact with those terms and understanding those things, you just give them a business term like sales or customers or gross margin ratio, and that's all they have to care about. And what we do is we use an ETL tool, which I'll explain in the next slide here, to take the data from all of those different sources, bring it into this repository and through the metadata layer and now out to your users. And all of that now becomes wrapped in the platform itself, which gives you the ability to administer the platform, to provide security to the users, to email these reports out to the different groups that you want, or to schedule that information. Also, there's options for people to consume this information on a mobile device, or even in a cloud itself. So if you want to have your this BI platform, this way to move this data together cloud-based, you can have that as well. So really, so what we're doing is we're moving it from a custom environment, a one-off project design environment, to now one that is supported out of the box and elegantly flows this information from the data out to your users. That's how we're proposing to do it. So what we'll do today is we'll show you this flow, and we'll explain a couple of the key concepts. The one that we're going to focus on is ETL. So what is ETL? ETL is an acronym for the ability to extract data, transform that data, and load that data into another source. And so this tool is part of this platform, and this is what's going to enable you to take data from any of your systems and move it into the content out to the users. Also, what this tool does is, as well, it can help you cleanse the data as you bring it in from these different sources, and then also reduce the amount of duplicate records that you have. So you could match out records, you could consolidate the information. If you have different pieces of information you realize from different databases, you can bring that together. So it's all now in this clean database ready for your reporting. Some of the benefits of using an ETL to help with this process, probably the biggest thing, it's going to reduce the amount of data silos that you have and really consolidate your information. Also, it's going to give you access to a library of basically these transforms, which will show you a few that instead of having to write custom code every time you want to extract information or move it in a different way, the ETL tool itself provides all of this stuff out of the box. So it just becomes a drag and drop environment. So very easy for you to manage, very easy for you to leverage, very little custom code you have to write, which is, again, this following point here. And the biggest thing that it gets you is faster development time. So again, speeding your time to get data out of your cloud into your local applications. That's really one of the key benefits. And this is what we're going to show you. We're going to show you how we extracted information from the cloud, in this case from Salesforce.com. We're going to show you how we extract data from a local data source. We're going to show you how we transform that data from those two different sources in transit. We'll show you how we load a data warehouse or data repository, and from there, this universe here is this metadata layer or key performance indicator layer that translates that data from those hard data terms to business user terms, and then we'll actually show you what a report would look like. So we'll show you from one end to the other. So if I can do this, Lance, I'm going to try to make you presenter here. Hopefully I don't lose everybody. Okay, Lance, it's over to you now. And you're going to want to take yourself off mute too, Lance. Hey, Lance, we still can't hear you. Trent, can you just double check that we can hear Lance? All right, guys, just give us a second to get everything sorted out here.
Hello, Ref.
All right, there you are, buddy.
All right, sorry about that. Something was going on. All right, guys, sorry about that. So, as Raf was pointing out earlier, ETL process. This is SAP's Data Services Designer, and this is actually going to allow you to reduce all those information silos that you have, all the multiple reports where the numbers aren't matching up like they're supposed to. You got one report saying that you have 100,000 units. You got another report saying you have 500,000 units. Well, a lot of that can be traced down to the actual data. And so what Data Sources actually allows you to do is not only merge all those different data sources, but now it allows you to go out to the cloud and get your contact information and pull that down. And so you can utilize it in a better fashion to where you can report off of it at the end of the day. And so what you'll see here is the actual tool that does this for you. And when I say does this for you, what I mean is it does it for you. It's as simple as setting stuff up and dragging and drop. As you'll see here, I'm pulling data from a CSV file. I'm pulling data from a actual database as well, merging them together. And I merge them by just dragging and dropping columns over. So that actually creates the query statement for you, reduces your development time tremendously to where you can get that product out to your end users sooner than later. You'll see here I'm just setting up a quick example of I want to get data out of Salesforce, all my contact information out of Salesforce, merge it together with my list of employees to see which employees have most contacts, which regions seem to be doing better with going out and getting us business. Well, again, pull data out of Salesforce, pull data out of a eternal database, merge them together, and now I'm loading it into a fact table to where I can build a report off of that. Some of the actual tools that come with it is a table compare option. Well, what this table compare does is it allows you to find out which records are new, which ones have changed, and which ones have been deleted out of there, allowing you to keep the most recent up-to-date data that you need. Some of the other ones that you have, as Raf was commenting, is actual matching and consolidating. Data Sources comes with multiple match transforms, or you can create them through a wizard to fit your actual business needs. What this is doing here is this will take all your source information and you define the rules of what makes a match. Well, you know, I want to find out all my contacts that have the same organization, the same name, figure out which ones are duplicated. Now I have five or six sources with the same contacts, maybe the same unit cells. I've merged them together. I now have accurate data to report off of. I load that into my fact table, and then I move forward with the reporting process. And again, all of this is done by just dragging and dropping onto the screen and then allowing data services to do the work for you. And so what you might find out of there is, what do I do with this data? Now that I have this, Raf mentioned about a metadata layer. What is a metadata layer? Well, the metadata layer is actually, in SAP terms, called a universe. What this universe does is it creates a connection to a database and allows you to create objects, again, allowing you to utilize these objects multiple times to where you don't have to create any of the custom SQL statements. You don't have to go to your developers and say, yeah, I would like a report stating this, as opposed to stating our current sales. And that puts the power in your hands. So I'm just going to whip something up together real quick just to show y'all how easy it is. And it works a lot like Microsoft Word. It has the same look and feel. You can bold things, you can group things. You'll see here, I'm going to select the employee contacts. That's the universe that I created, so I can create a report on how many employees have how many contacts, which ones are doing the best, which regions are doing better than other regions. And then, as I explained earlier, here is our metadata layer, employee contacts. Here is all the different columns inside our data warehouse that we pulled in from Excel spreadsheets, that we pulled in from databases, that we pulled in from Salesforce, merged them all together, applied business logic, put them into a reporting database, and now we want to report off of it. These are object-oriented to where you can just drag and drop again. Just pull it over. I want the employee name, employee location. Let's, of course, we want the contact name. Again, what this is doing is this is generating the SQL statement for me. I don't need to go out and code something. It codes it for me. Let's see here. Maybe we want to see, the contact address. I run the query. Now I have data back. Now, think of it again. This is data that came not only from our cloud, but our internal database, and maybe some external data sources that we get emailed in Excel or CSV files. It's all right here again. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and create a actual, let's just see how each region's doing according to how many contacts that they have. So I'm just going to remove a couple of these columns here because I actually want to get a bar graph. So I go over here. Again, it comes out. It comes with your standard out-of-the-box functions that you can use. I'm going to use the count statement here. Validate it. So now I know that San Diego, we have 6 contacts associated to the San Diego office, and San Francisco has 3. But I want it in a bar graph because I view those better. So I just now, on the fly, convert it to a bar graph to where I know that San Diego has 6, San Francisco has 3. But I want to go a little further than that. I actually want to know the employee name, where they're from. So I'm just going to insert a table here, add a table. Again, this is all done on the fly. The employee name, drag and drop there, have all the employee names, where they're located, but I want to section it off by employee, location. I've got the organization name, who are these people's contacts. I'm going to go ahead and group by the name. Again, all making this, as you see, as I'm building the report, it's making it so much easier to read. And again, this is coming from multiple data sources. So now I can report off of which region, who are the contacts, who are the employees associated to, and what is the count. Raf?
Yeah, Lance, can you actually I just sorry, I was just reading a question that just came in. I thought it might be a good time now. The question is, when you pulled that information from Salesforce into this universe, basically for this report, how did you do it? Is that did you have to take a flat file out of this, or did you build a direct connection? How did that work?
I actually built a direct connection through a ODBC connection and created a data store out of it. So what this allows me to do is, inside data services, you'll see here are data stores. They connect to web services. They connect to ODBC connections. They connect to databases. You have a whole list of possible data sources, and one of these is the ability to connect to Salesforce via ODBC connection. So this actually connects to it. So you can schedule this job nightly, daily. It can be real time, to where you can pull that data out of the cloud, and you know that you're reporting off the most recent data the actual next day on the report.
And that schedule, I mean, you could set the options for that, so it's like a daily or once an hour.
Oh yeah, so so it works much like a Windows scheduler. You can do it hourly, you can do it multiple times a day, you can do it certain days of the month. It's very versatile.
Okay. There's another follow-up question, just asking you to kind of re-go over the topic of the metadata layer and explain how that helps as bringing that together from these different from the Salesforce source and then also from your local data source. Can you just kind of explain that again?
Yeah. So reports are driven off data. One way to get the actual data out is through queries. And so what the metadata layer does is it creates a connection to your data source. In this instance, it's a database. So it'll create a connection to a database and allow you to pull in the tables that you need, the columns that are important to you, name them, like employee name, give you the column data behind it, so you don't have to keep creating SQL statements. You don't have to know how to write SQL code. What the metadata layer does is it does the work for you. You tell it what you want. I want this column from this table, and I want to be able to report across the board, whether it's from multiple tables or multiple columns. Currently, how some people do it is that they pay a SQL developer to go write these SQL statements, put it into a report, and that actually takes time, a couple hours, a couple days. But what the metadata layer does is it gives you the power.
Lance, I have a follow-up question. The question is, can this universe be used to define terms for the business?
Yes.
And I think what they're saying is, can this be used to define something like how do I calculate net sales or net revenue? I think that's where they're going with this question.
Yeah, and that's a very good question, because as I was saying earlier, you might have multiple reports pointing to different data sources, and you're looking at two of these reports, and one number says 100,000, another one says 500,000, and they're both supposed to be profit margins. Well, how come there's such a big difference? Well, one report might be calculating it one way, another one might be calculating it another. And so what this metadata allows you to do is it actually allows you to apply your business logic, your business rules at a location to where it is standard across the board. So you know going forward, if you're accessing this metadata layer, you're always going to get the same profit margin on every single report that you use it in.
Lance, I got another question that just came through. The question is, can data services be used to transfer data from various sources, including Excel, into a database without using the universe?
Yes. So that's how data services works. You have your sources, you have your targets. They can be either flat files, they can be Excel spreadsheets, they can be web services, databases. It can read and write to those. So if you want to, if you have data inside your database that you need to export and get to somebody else, you can do that with data services, to where you can, again, automate another portion of your business to where you don't have to look at it every day. You know that once a month, one of your partner companies needs a CSV file containing contacts, whatever it is. You can automate that and have them receive a CSV file every single month.
Yeah, and just to follow up with that, I mean, and so while you do not have to use the universe for reporting, like when you're building reports or your dashboards, I mean, really that does become, I mean, that's, to use a cliched term, I mean, that's basically the secret sauce, right? I mean, that's what makes reporting from an end user point of view easier, because they don't have to know, you know, these very specific database tables and how to do all these joins, because that's already been done for you. And, you know, to follow up on that last question, if you want to standardize business terms, well, instead of having people calculate, you know, what your net sales were, or how many net new customers you had, or what your gross margin contribution ratio was, if you do that at the universe level, now instead of having everyone come up with different answers, everyone is on the same page. So we see that being very powerful, and that's only possible if you have something like a universe pulling that information together and doing those calculations for you. I think that we are bumping up probably closer to the end of our, although I see one more question that just came in. Okay, Lance, can you take this one? Can you extract data from the Active Directory data source?
That I would have to look into. Active Directory meaning Windows authentication, I'm assuming.
I think that's what I think is what
yeah. So we would have to get back on them.
Okay.
I don't know.
Nirav, we'll follow up with you directly on that point. Okay, Lance, I'm gonna bring it back to me here. Hold on. So guys, that's it for time here. If you have any questions, I'm just gonna flash my information up here. Guys, please give us a call directly. My number is 604-633-3833. That's my email address as well. Or you can just reach us through our main line, through our Dallas line, through us in Vancouver. Anyway, please, thank you so much for attending. We'd like to also see you guys at our next webinar, which is in a